Keith and Trevor Houston was proud to hear their late father would be immortalized in the Milton Sports Hall of Fame.
Unfortunate that he's not here to accept the honor, but it was actually a schoolmate and teammate that gave me some indication that his name was being considered. And then I got the call that he had been accepted, so it was thrilling.
Milton wouldn't be where it is today without Cliff Houston, who pioneered youth baseball and hockey.
He was on the main street talking to the hotel owner, and the kids were coming up the street soaking wet, and the owner said something to Dad about, why are these kids all soaking wet? And Dad said, well, it's the springtime and they're playing hockey on the pond and it's kind of slushy. And the owner of the hotel also owned the arena and said something to Dad to the effect, well, if I gave you some ice in the fall, would you be able to put something together at the rink? And he started with 4 teams, Keith being one of the team members. And eventually he made a selection and he put the first OMHA team.
Despite his father's interest in sports, it wasn't an enjoyable activity for Keith.
I was not a good sportsman. It just wasn't my thing, but I made up to it in other ways.
Cliff enjoyed the team aspect of baseball and hockey, but when he retired from P.L. Robertson's, he decided to switch up his involvement in sports.
Even after he stopped playing, he still enjoyed the camaraderie, so he continued as a coach and also as a referee and an umpire.
Trevor says his father's selfless demeanor would never allow him to stand in the spotlight.
He would be very honored by this, but he would also be a little reserved about it and almost embarrassed because he didn't like attention. He always said, as a referee and an umpire, people shouldn't know you're there. You're not the reason that they came to the game, so get in position, make the call, and then get out of the limelight.
Cliff Houston will also be joining his nephew, martial arts expert Scott Hogarth, in the Milton Sports Hall of Fame.
He was very big. He reminds me a lot of Steven Seagal in his manner and temperament, and I guess with the martial art background, that would be very likely.
In 2004, Cliff died 2 weeks shy of his 96th birthday. Despite his many accomplishments and accolades, his 2 sons and daughter will always remember him as plain old Dad.
We didn't really know he was that prominent
No.
at the time. What I remember, supper time. Dad worked at PL's, and they got out at 5 o'clock, and you knew that at 6 minutes or 7 minutes after 5, he'd be coming in the back door with his lunch pail under his arm and wash up his hands under the sink, and that was supper time, and it was the same every night.
Yeah.
At that exact time, he'd come home.